Okay, so now in this second video, we're going to talk about the things that are graded in this section of the methodology. So as you can see, the first part or the first point that is evaluated is about developing a systematic and logical approach to the inquiry. Sounds very strange, but it basically explains that it's kind of this part, this research philosophy part. It's kind of a logical approach, methodological approach to the research that you want to do. So if you take a look at which is a bad grade in that, it says provides a vague explanation of the approach to the inquiry, loosely describes planned approach. So it means that you more or less explain this, and the connection between the methodology and what you are studying is a bit disconnected. So, or is quite disconnected. That's why you get a very bad grade. So that's the minimum. But then a good grade is about this, a clear justification of the approach, which is kind of the product of all of this discussion. So it's very clear what you're doing, but that all of this fits the methodological assumption, the epistemological assumption, the ontological assumption, that is very clear that path. So this thing that is graded in here is actually graded in this section, and it's quite heavy, right? If the methodology is huge and you and 1/3 of the grade from the methodology is graded in this, it's a lot only in the research philosophy. So pay attention on that. Then the next point is about the methods, and here again, I think it's also tricky because you don't have all the tools to decide on this. You haven't finished, so. But do your best to kind of fulfill the what is expected in at least in the planning version of your method. So make sure that the methods are well connected. Again, like if your research question is this, if your approach is this, then your method is clear. So if you are studying something that is assumed to be objective, and then your approach is deductive, then it makes sense to do a statistical analysis to test the hypothesis, which include data collection through surveys or through analysis of reports and regression analysis. So I think that's a very clear connection. Of course, you have to argue all of that. That's why it's important, the written and the connection. But that's basically a good map. But you can't finish this part because you haven't done it. Like later you will need to report. We actually sent a survey and this many people answered, blah, blah, blah. And finally, the last point that is graded is that selection and justification of research. So in general, and this is kind of everything else that is in the methodology chapter is about ethics, is about selecting the sample. That's something also that will come later when you also have the data kind of justifying these points. In my view, I think that this will be graded with what you will do after you collect the data. When you come back to the methodology and you write the second part, I think it's more on this. Like you actually show that everything you did is very transparent, it was made consciously, and you defend all of your choices and you explain what you did and why you didn't do it in another way. So focus on these 2 points. But again, it's the first try of methodology. And I know that maybe some of you are already a bit confused, but try to do your best. At least in this submission, aim to submit something that gives a clear idea of what you want to do, so that you can get feedback from the other students and from me about your choices on the method and the methodology. And then maybe you can fix something if it's necessary. Well, I think that's it. As you can see, this is quite a bit unusual because not very normal submission, because most of the time we focus a lot on the next part, and now we actually spend a lot of time on the revision. But still, even the exploratory part of the submission is a bit of a challenge. Well, let me know if you have questions, any question as always, and see you soon.